Hey guys, it's Monday, June 13th, and you are seeing me in the lovely confines of my home, even though I am either en route to Washington, D.C. or actually in Washington, D.C. to meet up with my group that I'm going to Jordan with. Thank you to Isabel for posting this video and the next 7 weeks' videos. This video comes to you in 3 parts. And these 3 parts happen to be 3 different radio stories that I heard on NPR, which is National Public Radio. I know NPR is an old person station, but I really, really love it, regardless of if it's an old person station or not. Part 1. Criminals and brain tumors. There was a story about criminals who do stuff because they have brain tumors that are pushing on certain sections of their brain and that causes their behaviors to change and all this crazy biological stuff that I don't even think I'm close to understanding, but it's an interesting concept. Except the concept that's interesting for me is not so much the biology of, tumors affecting behavior, but our perceptions of what is okay and what's not, because the idea is that for some criminals, if they had medical conditions like this that affected their behavior, we could change the biology of their brain, and then they would no longer, want to be criminals and no longer want to do it. And I think this is an interesting idea because it seems great at first thought, if you can just convince the criminals not to do something, then you would do that, and if you can't just convince them not to, if you could change the setup of their brain so they wouldn't do that. Biologically messing with someone's brain doesn't really strike me as something that we should be doing. In some cases, it's kind of obvious if something is bad, if it's murder, we know it's bad, because they're killing somebody. But if it's something where some people think it's bad, and some people don't think it's bad, and some people are somewhere in between, I feel like if it was an acceptable action to physically change someone's brain to change their behavior, there's a lot of things that really fast it could warp into, and I don't think that would be good. If someone wants to screw with their own brain, fine. It's something I would expect in science fiction, and not something I would expect on a news story on NPR. And the fact that I heard it on a news story in NPR scares the heck out of me. Part 2. So, there's this new musical out called The Book of Mormon. Now, the thing is, with any musical that mocks a group or religion, the people who are in that group or religion immediately start freaking out. They're all, "You're insulting us, don't do that, you're being really mean and inappropriate and horrible." So the creators of this musical, they're not really trying to, insult Mormons, they're just trying to, poke a little bit fun of their ideas and give a little bit of social commentary on some of the things that they don't like about Mormonism. One of the best YouTube comments I heard about this was someone who said, "My friend's Mormon, she saw this, and she just started laughing. And all she said was that if you can't poke fun at yourself, you'll never have any fun." And a lot of times I think that, our world is getting really, really, really serious, and I think that we need to have more fun, and not get so serious, if anything happens, just say, "Ha, that's funny." That might have been the weirdest laugh I've ever done. I don't even know what that laugh was. Ha, ha, that's not actually how I laugh. That's... Anyways. I'll put some links in my pants to some of the songs from the musical so you can listen to them and see and create your own opinion. So if you want to comment with your opinions on the musical and how far you think musicals and other forms of media can take it before they're insulting someone and not just joking around with it. Part 3. Okay, so the other big debate that I've been hearing on NPR is whether or not the new leader for the IMF should be from Europe or from somewhere else. Now the thing is that traditionally the leader of the IMF has been from Europe because Europe has been an economic superpower. The thing is now is that Europe doesn't really have all the economic superpowers. There's the US and Japan and China, and they're not from Europe. So what happens if the person in charge ends up being from Europe, and they're a great fit, and they're a great candidate, and they really deserve the position, but they happen to be from a European country? And then everyone who's not from a European country, who is all gunning for, outside of Europe leadership of the IMF, they're gonna be like, "Nah, nah, 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 they're from Europe, nah, 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 you're still doing the old ways, and you're not letting us into your club, and nah, 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 nah." And I don't think that's going to work out very well. But then the thing is that you shouldn't be picking someone just to make sure they're outside of Europe, because I'm sure there's plenty of really well-qualified people in Europe who really would be really good leaders for the IMF. And I don't think that they should be excluded from the chances just because they happen to be European, which is a twisted scenario of the other people who don't want to be excluded because they're not European. And I don't think that this whole breakdown of whether you're European or not should be a really big part of picking the new person for the IMF, but I think it's ending up to be, and I don't think that's helping anybody. So, thoughts on that? I don't know. I'm not from Europe, and I don't think they're shooting for anybody from the US. Maybe they are. I haven't heard about any US candidates. So, thoughts on that, or how European supremacy is changed, and what people think about it, and how it affects life. So, I guess I'm not going to be watching these videos for a while, so I can't say see you tomorrow, so see you in August!